Down payments are one of the biggest hurdles to purchasing a home. If you haven't saved enough of your own funds and you're ready to buy a home, gift funds can be a lifeline to making that happen. I'm going to cover the rules pertaining to gift funds when purchasing a home, and we'll go over some critical do's and don'ts. If you're considering receiving or giving gift funds, you won't want to miss this. With home equity at an all-time high and home prices soaring, many buyers are relying on gift funds from relatives to help them achieve the dream of homeownership. According to the National Association of Realtors, 28% of buyers used gift funds for a down payment in 2021. Let's talk about who can give gift money, how much can be gifted, the documentation requirements, and some tips to make the loan underwriting go as smoothly as possible. It's important to know that gift funds can be used for the purchase of either a primary residence or a second home. If the subject property is an investment property, gift funds cannot be used in that transaction. Now that we got that part out of the way, the first question is, who can gift money for a mortgage down payment? For a conventional mortgage, which is loaned through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac and the most commonly used mortgage out there, the down payment must come from family. Now, family is defined by blood, marriage, adoption, or legal guardianship. Fiancés and domestic partners also count as family. The definition of family expands all the way out to aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews, cousins, in-laws, and also includes adopted children, stepchildren, and foster children. For FHA loans, the definition of a family member is a little more narrow as it doesn't include cousins, nieces, and nephews, but they are more liberal as they do allow gifts from close friends that have a clearly defined interest in the client, and that can include extended families such as cousins, nieces, nephews, even godparents. VA and USDA loans have the most liberal requirements for gift funds. They allow gift funds from pretty much anyone as long as that person does not have an interest in the transaction, such as the seller, builder, the realtor, or the mortgage lender. In practice, lenders aren't going to ask for your family tree, adoption paperwork, or want to see the engagement ring for your fiancé to prove a family relationship, but it's good to know these guidelines to ensure the gift is legitimate in the eyes of the lender. The second most important thing to know regarding gift funds is how much can be gifted. Now, in most cases, as long as the donor meets the qualifications I just went over, there's no cap on the amount that can be gifted, whether the money is coming from parents, grandparents, or an employer. If the total down payment is less than 20% and the home is either a 2 or 4 unit or a second home, the borrower must contribute at least 5% from his or her own funds. Now, gift funds can be used to pay for the earnest money deposit, the down payment, closing costs, and in most cases, if you need to pay off any debt such as a car or a student loan to qualify, lenders will allow gift funds for that purpose also. You will need to submit a gift letter to the lender, and this letter really provides documentation defining the parties involved, the amount being given, and confirms that the funds are actually a gift. Both the donor and recipient will need to sign this letter. If you need an airtight gift letter that I've used on dozens of transactions over the years, please reach out and I'm happy to email that over. You really want to get this right the first time. And anytime you're using gift funds, your lender will require documentation providing the money has been transferred. From a practical standpoint, the cleanest way to transfer the funds that will require the least amount of scrutiny and documentation is to have the donor send the gift funds directly to escrow. When that occurs, the only documentation the lender will require is a receipt from escrow showing the amount transferred and the donor's name. That's it. When the gift funds are being transferred before closing, the documentation is a bit more burdensome to both the donor and the recipient. You have to provide documentation showing the donor's check and deposit into your account, or wire transfer receipts showing the donor's name and the amount, or if you're using bank statements to document the transfer, you need to obtain both the donor and the recipient's bank statements. No one usually likes to do that. You'll want to make sure that the words loan, repayment, interest, etc. are nowhere to be found on the donor's check, any wire transfer details, or the gift letter. That can absolutely kill the deal, and the lender will actually treat those funds as a debt instead of a gift. I typically try to avoid all documentation requirements by advising my borrowers that if they have not already received the gift funds, to have the donor just hold off transferring the funds so we can set up a direct wire to escrow. Now, we can avoid the gift letter and documentation requirements altogether if the gift funds have been transferred at least 60 days prior to purchasing a home. At that point, the funds are considered seasoned in the lender's eyes and no documentation is required to support those funds. If you'd like to discuss the tax consequences of gift funds, please reach out so I can go over that with you. I'm one of very few licensed CPAs in the mortgage industry, so I have in-depth knowledge in this subject and can actually legally give tax advice. So thank you so much for watching this week's update. Feel free to reach out with any questions or comments, and have a blessed day.